What's up, everyone? Welcome to another NHL Offseason update. Got some new news coming out of the NHL.
Yeah,
It's in the past couple weeks.
Yeah, it's been a little bit because it hasn't been too hot, but
free
this
agency
week
died down a bit.
Yeah, this week it's been crazy. Let's start with the Olympics.
And it's not just free agency; it's just a ton of stuff.
Yeah, the Olympics. So
yeah,
at this point, I think it's pretty clear that the NHL's going. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up.
Yeah.
But
they're close to an agreement.
And not only are they close to an agreement, the deal for me is all the coaching, the GMs, the staff are predominantly NHL staff, right?
Well, that would change if the NHL players don't go. They would name a different staff.
Yeah.
But the fact that they named it so early is promising. That they thought they felt confident enough to say, we'll name the NHL staff now because we feel that something could get done, as opposed to them scrambling last minute.
Fair enough.
So negotiations are going well, though.
Yeah, the only issue, and it's going to be an issue in any Olympics, especially now with COVID, is you have to navigate around that. You want your players to be healthy.
Yeah.
And then injury concern as any other Olympic break. You look at Kirby Dach, who is on contract with the Chicago Blackhawks, missed the entire season or most of it. Because of an the
World Juniors.
Yeah, the World Juniors. So you have a situation like that. But now guys know to be a little more careful. Although you're playing for your country, there's a reason they don't have fighting. Yeah. And it's not as physical of a game.
No.
So it's going to be...
But obviously there's concerns in terms of the additional insurance when it comes to COVID. That's what's been holding it back is... How are they going to work out insurance policies?
They were 100% in agreement. Especially they used this as a bargaining chip to get the play-ins and the playoffs for 2021.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see the NHL following through on that.
Yeah. And man, their coaching staff and their GM staff.
Loaded.
It's just loaded.
So you have John Cooper, Bruce Cassidy, Pete DeBoer, and Barry Trotz.
And then the GMs, Doug Armstrong, Ken Holland, Ron Francis, Roberto Luongo, Don Sweeney. So they've got a good group of guys to pick the team, and then a good group of guys to coach them. So
surprised to not see Steve Yzerman, but outside of that, fantastic.
Yeah, for sure.
Now some signings we haven't been able to discuss yet.
Yep.
Just because they weren't really big or breaking, we didn't really have takes,
and we didn't have enough of them to actually warrant doing a video. But
so some of these are old news, but you have UC Saros signing $5 million for the next 4 years. I think that's a good contract.
Yeah.
Now in this situation, spoiler alert, you had him 7 on your top 10. And the only issue I have is he hasn't done it on his own yet. But he is fully capable.
And that's what I said in our top 10 goalie ranking videos. Make sure to go check that out, by the way. That it is going to be interesting to see how he responds to not having Pekka Rinne in his ear. Is obviously he took the starting job last year.
Yeah.
And he was great with the starting job. His numbers speak for themselves. He had great numbers. I think he's capable of doing it again, but obviously it's really a put up or shut up year for him.
For sure.
But I do like that contract though.
It's a good contract.
It's a great contract.
He is a starter. And
for sure.
They're going to love that deal. Kevin Fiala is only able to get 1 year out of Minnesota at 5.1. Thought there'd be more commitment, especially with someone like Kaprizov, who's still up in the air.
Yeah.
I thought they would have committed to somebody. I don't know what's in the future for both parties here.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that plays out. Zadorov signs in Calgary. This guy just wants big money, and he's not going to commit to anybody until he gets that.
Yeah.
So I can see him waiting until his UFA year. A lot of deals are going to come in because there's no one like Zadorov in the league. He may not be the best defenseman, but you can't replace his physicality.
Nope.
Travis Sanheim kind of completes that top 4 in Philadelphia. You have Ellis.
It's a good top 4.
Yeah, you have Ellis. You have Ristolainen. You have Provorov, fantastic. So he slots on that probably second pairing left side.
Yeah.
And then Svechnikov gets his 8-year deal now. For 8 years, I thought it would have been more money because he's still under $8 million at 7.75.
Yeah.
Especially with the potential he has.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see something like that. At that salary, you would expect a bridge deal, but he wants to commit to Carolina. Carolina wants to commit to him.
Yeah.
It's a great combination. And Sean Couturier signs the exact same deal that kicks in next offseason.
Yep.
So it's an extension. Interesting to see now where this is risky is right now that's a bargain, but it's a long-term deal. He's an aging player. He's in his prime now, but the bottom half of that deal maybe a little risky.
It may not age well.
And today, as we're filming, you see Connor Murphy get a 4-year deal at 4.5 mil or 4.4 mil.
Yeah.
To some, this may seem like an overpayment, and maybe it is. It's a raise on his current $3.8 million deal. But you look at it this way: he's been the best defenseman in Chicago until now. We'll see what happens with some of the big additions they've had.
Yeah.
Now they have a good top four. He can play a limited role and be that defensive D-man.
Yep.
That guy that kind of holds things together while Seth Jones takes on the offensive load.
Yeah.
But let's move on to some more Jack Eichel news, as this is something we're going to pretty much be talking about until something happens.
It's the story of the offseason. It's just the story of the NHL until something happens. Yep.
So he meets with the NHL, the NHLPA, and the Buffalo Sabres, but
there were some medical professionals involved in that meeting as well.
No resolution, so I guess we'll see what comes of that.
Yeah.
But he fires and hires a new agent, Pat Brisson, and I guess this is just a move to speed up the process of what's going on.
Yeah.
He obviously wants... He wants it to come to a conclusion, whether that's him being dealt, him having a surgery. These things need to be dealt with, and his former agent just wasn't getting the job done. Now, one thing that's interesting is his relationship with Marc Bergevin.
Yeah.
His agent's relationship with Marc Bergevin. That doesn't necessarily mean a trade to Montreal or anything like that, because it's a trade. This is between organizations, franchises, not players. Yeah. So you can't just go out and sign this guy.
Yep.
The agent isn't necessarily in control of what happens trade-wise.
Yeah.
So we'll see what comes of that. It's just an interesting tidbit to add there.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll get to the reason we made this video is Jesperi Kotkaniemi and the offer sheet from Carolina.
Carolina's clapping back after that offer sheet that Montreal made Aho 2 years ago. And
you look back at that, in my opinion, Bergevin, for the most part, helped out Carolina. The only bad part to that contract is by the end of it, Aho's a UFA.
Yep.
But outside of that, great term and great years.
Yep.
The Kotkaniemi, the clapback here is Montreal's choked. They have to make a move here. And the move they make is bigger than you think, considering, although it's only 1 year. Right? So first off, if they let Kotkaniemi go, they get picks. And in my opinion, a first and a third from Carolina isn't enough.
No.
That's not much.
No.
So that leads you to think, well, they have to match.
Yep.
But if they match, they can't trade him. And in any trade where they upgrade their roster, Kotkaniemi would have been that piece.
Yep.
So this delays them from making moves they would have needed and wanted to make this offseason or during the regular season.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a lose-lose for Montreal, because you're either going to lose value. You're actually losing value either way. You're losing a trading asset, or your trading asset's value diminishes. Why did Carolina do this? Well, first off, it's a clapback.
Yep.
Signing bonus is $20. Aho wears number 20.
Yep.
But they've also wanted to trade for him. A lot of people have reported this. So there's probably some truth to the fact that Carolina has had interest in Kotkaniemi.
Yeah.
So they've been good with Finns. You look at Aho, you look at Teravainen, adding Kotkaniemi to that, I think would add to their thriving Finnish talent, because they obviously have some scouting. They have some heads there.
Yep.
So the question is, what does Montreal do? And I think they're playing a waiting game to see what they can get center-wise.
Yep.
Especially losing Dano. If they lose Kotkaniemi, they need a center back. So everybody's talking about Christian Dvorak, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
Arizona, to some extent, wants to get rid of him. They don't necessarily need him through this rebuild.
Yeah.
So if they can get assets, particularly futures, I think that's something they're going to look into, and Montreal can shore that up. I think it's a matter of what Arizona is willing to accept, and now the price for Dvorak in this situation is going to be higher.
Yeah.
Because Montreal has to make a move.
Yep.
The other one's obviously going to be Jack Eichel, but again, getting a first and a third from Carolina won't be nearly enough. You have to throw in a lot more to get someone of that talent. So
yeah,
we're going to wait and see what Montreal does. The difference here is with Aho, you knew Carolina was going to match that.
Yeah.
They had no reason not to. In Montreal, there's just too many variables.
Yeah.
And another thing to add on is there have been rumblings that Kotkaniemi felt he already played his last game in Montreal.
Yeah.
So even if they bring him back for one season, you're going to have a disgruntled player. Yeah. So at that point, it doesn't seem to make much sense. Just lose the value, take the picks, and move on, I guess. But it's a shame picking him third overall, bright future. I wish this would have been better for the organization, or this would have played out better, but simply hasn't.
Yep. And with that, that'll do it for our NHL update video. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, give it a like down below. Subscribe so you don't miss any of our other uploads. Comment down below what you think about the NHL offseason so far as we get closer to the regular season. What you think of Jack Eichel, what you think of Kotkaniemi. Again, let us know your thoughts in the comments. And with that, we'll see you in the next video. Peace.